Hello everyone. Can I get a confirmation if I am audible and visible properly?
Yes, Neha.
Okay. So if there are any issues from my end in between, please feel free to tell me. First of all, good morning everyone. Thank you for joining in on a Sunday morning. We have a really interesting session planned for all of you today. I am Sneha Leheria, the Program Director for Events at PACE. PACE is Personality Advancement Circle of Engineers. First, I would like to welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Saurabh Gandhi. We are elated to have you here with us. I would also like to welcome all the PACE members, all the ex-PACE members, all the participants for Prudence 2021, and of course, a warm welcome to all the viewers on the live stream. Before we move on to the highly awaited PACE talk by Mr. Gandhi, I would like to take this opportunity to briefly talk about PACE, what we do as a club, our events, and of course, the two-day event this session is a part of Prudence 2021. So, Personality Advancement Circle of Engineers, that is PACE, is a non-profit student body in our college, Walchand College of Engineering, Sangli. We at PACE are dedicated to nurturing several aspects and personality traits essential to professionals, such as interpersonal skills, time and resource management, crisis management, social skills, marketing skills, and we keep on adding more skills as time goes on and as we develop our yearly activities. Let's talk about the event that we have now, Prudence 2021. Today is the second day of Prudence this year on the glorious Platinum Jubilee of WCE Sangli. Prudence is a two-day national level management fest. We have participants from various different parts of the country, from Bangalore to Delhi to Rajasthan to Manipal, and we have quite a diverse crowd this time. Prudence mostly aims at fostering the managerial skills of youth through the different sub-events that we have. This time we have 3 sub-events, which are Alpha Managers, Ideathon, and Personality Prism. So that's about the introduction of PACE and its activities. I hope this gave you a general understanding about our club, our objectives, and about Prudence. Let's now move on to the part everyone has been waiting for so patiently. Thank you for that. Today, we have the pleasure of being in the company of Mr. Saurabh Gandhi. He is a product manager at Upstox. Mr. Gandhi has been a program manager at Ola Electric Mobility Private Limited, as well as been a Mahindra GMC Manager. He has also been an entrepreneur, being the co-founder of KrishiX. He is an alumni of Jain Institute of Management and Research, and also of our very own college, Walchand College of Engineering, Sangli, from where he graduated in 2015 with a bronze medal in information technology. Fun fact, he has also been the vice president of our club PACE back in his time. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Gandhi to the virtual stage.
Thank you, Sneha, for that kind introduction. Thank you so much. I think it's a very good thing that even though the pandemic is on, you guys are conducting Prudence. Prudence is very close to my heart. I remember I organized it in 2014, and then back in 2015, I was just overseeing it. But I remember I have very fond memories of Prudence. So I'm very glad to be here and glad that the club is doing so good. As Neha mentioned, I've been the vice president of PACE, but earlier to that, I was the program director, and earlier I was a member. I was just a member. I was just introduced to PACE by a friend of mine when I just walked into a class after into a club service session after my classes got over, and I loved the vibe there. So all my best friends are from PACE. PACE is, as I would say in short, is really close, and I'm really glad to be here. Cool. How do we go about it?
First, we'll have the session or the PACE talk that you've prepared, and then we can go on to the Ask Me Anything session.
Cool, got it. So yeah. Just let me share my screen. My screen is visible to you guys, right?
Yes, it's visible.
Are there any people whom I have already known? There are some ex-pacers I heard.
Yes, we have ex-pacers here. We have from our advisory board and before that too.
We have Gagan, Apurva, Ganesh.
Oh, great guys. I'm glad you guys are here. Cool. Let me start. So yeah, my name is Saurabh Gandhi. I'm a product manager at Upstox currently. Earlier to that, I'll just take you briefly to my through my journey. I graduated with a BTech in Information Technology from Walchand College of Engineering in 2015. Out of college, I got into one of the startups back then. It was called as Zilama Analytics. So this was the campus job I got through college, and it was, I think, the only startup that visited campus during my days. I think a lot more startups visit now, and this was a very small team, 30-35 people. A fun fact was that the final interview of my campus recruitment was taken by an ex-pacer. So it was very smooth. We were talking about what we did at base, how did we arrange Prudence and all that. So yeah, this was a company which was based out of Palo Alto in San Francisco, and it was majorly into HR tech. All right. I got in as an intern there. I did my internship for 6 months and then converted into a full-time opportunity. Like 3-4 months down the line, the company got acquired by a company called as Xelam by Hire.com in the US. So after it got acquired, I wanted to do something on my own. This entrepreneurial thing was always in my head, and being within those kind of people in Zilama, I felt ki, uh, it just got nurtured. So I went on to start Krishi X. After that, it was basically an m-commerce platform for farmers to procure agricultural inputs. So being in and around Sangli and coming from Kolhapur in Maharashtra, I was always around traders and farmers. Wanted to do something for them, and this was also the time when, like, if you look at it, Snapdeal, Amazon, and Flipkart were really making inroads into the Indian consumer market. We thought it really made sense to have something like convenience on your mobile phone, and convenience as a value proposition was really making sense. All right, so we thought, why not do it for the farmers? So it was an m-commerce platform where farmer could just log on to his app and procure all kinds of seeds, fertilizers, pesticides that got delivered right to his farm. Did this for around 2 years. Lot of successes, lot of failures, but decided to quit because we were hit by demonetization, and then really could not come back after that. So post that, I went on to do my MBA from SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, which is based out of Bombay. This was a 2 year long period. I got to intern at Carnegie Mellon University in US. Then also got onto an international exchange program at the Dauphine University in Paris. Lot of highs, lot of lows. MBA was a 2 year long amazing journey. Went on to represent India in Australia at Queensland University. So for a business plan competition. So during those 2 years, it was a lot of traveling. It was a lot of learning, a lot of making new friends, and I really enjoyed my time here. So post that, went on to join Mahindra and Mahindra out of campus. I joined as a GMC manager. All right, and post that, I really understood that like big companies are really not for me. So moved to a company called as Ola Electric, which is really making the rounds of it's really making rounds right now on social media with the new electric bike they're going to launch. I was an early employee there, probably in the top 100 employees. Currently, it's like 2,000 plus employees. So this is an offshoot of Ola into an electric mobility space. Soon understood that this is not the industry that I would want to work in. Spend some time there, and then wanted to pursue something into personal finance industry, fintech. Finance has always been very close to my heart, right? from my MBA days and right from my PACE days. I was handling the finances for the club. Though it was very small gesture, but it's been very close to my heart. So I went on to join Upstox as a product manager, and I'm currently working there. So that's about me. What I want to talk about today is the things I wish I knew when I was in college. All right, it's going to be a very simple talk. Nothing special about it. This is random gyan that you would even get on internet. But coming from someone who's been through it might just help you. If you can take away one good thing from the lecture today or from the session today, I'd be really glad. All right. So this is the talk I wish I wish my dumb student self had heard. And this is really I have been a dumb student. I have done a lot of mistakes. I have failed a lot of times. Just because I'm taking the session, it does not mean I'm something very different. I was just like you, sitting somewhere like in the Tilak Hall and listening to lectures, or missing classes just because I could not get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I was just like you guys. So it's just that I'm on the other side right now, so I can give you some gyan. I hope it helps you guys. So back when I was in college, if I only knew that startups were for me, it would have been a real help. There is a difference between how startups operate and how big companies operate. All right. So startups are all about speed. It's about the best defense a startup can have when it does not have a moat is the speed. It's speed of decision making. It's speed of hiring or firing, or its speed is a near universal value in most startups, and it's the speed to ship new features, new products to your end consumer, to your customer. When you're in a startup, you matter. You work directly on the product. You get to work on cool technologies. Like when I was in Zilama Analytics, I was working on something called as Python, Django, Flask. These technologies are even cool today. Like writing microservices, moving a monolithic architecture to a microservices based architecture. So this was not heard of when I was. Like when I talk to my peers who got into bigger companies like Symantec, Veritas, and a few of them got into Amazon, and even the bigger ones like something like an Infosys or a Wipro. So I was working on cool technologies. I was actually working on the entire product. I was talking to my customers. So I was building things right from the grounds up. So that really helped me in terms of when I started out as into Krishi X. It gave me a lot of confidence first, because when we are in college, we're majorly doing assignments. Your projects are also like they don't really. At least back when we were there, we never thought about how would it create an impact to an end customer. How would it really help someone? So I remember when I was in second year, I was doing something like doing an animation on Blender. And I really could not understand as in what is the value of this project, or what is the value add that I'm going to have. All right. So we were never really thinking about the end customer, but when you get into a startup and when you're surrounded by folks, really smart folks, you basically start thinking about what matters to the customer, what is that you would want to really deliver, and you get directly you're just not a small cog in the wheel. All right, you matter. Your everyday matters, and it is a very good feeling. That's just hold on. But finding also the right startup is really difficult. It's not easy. So I have been through a lot of I have made mistakes as well. I've learned through them. So I right now I feel that yes, this is the kind of company that I would always want to work for. When I joined Zilama, it was into HR analytics. HR analytics and HR tech was not really for me. I started out in a venture which was in agri tech. Next, I went on to move to Mahindra and Mahindra, which was again into agriculture and agricultural. It was a automobile company, but would wanted to venture into digital agriculture. So that's what Mahindra was doing. Later on, I went on to move into a company which was Ola Electric, which was into electric vehicles. And then end of the day, I went into a fintech startup, which is Upstox. So if I look at it, every startup is different. Every startup is trying to solve a problem, and every startup has its own way of solving the problem. What will suit the startup will not really suit you. All right. So finding the right startup is hard. Finding that right company to work for is difficult, and I think it only comes with experience. You have to experiment. You have to be ready to explore. Just don't want to be stuck into something which is like, you don't want to be stuck into something. That's what I believe. So how do you find the right startup? So you have to understand basically three parameters. One is, what is the problem that they are trying to solve? Is that problem really close to your heart? So Ola Electric was trying to solve a problem which was basically about electrification or electric vehicles. They wanted to bring electrification in the entire country and move away from the carbon fuel based automobile. So was that a problem that I really wanted to solve? My answer is no. Who's the founder? So basically, you have to understand what is the problem that is really close to your heart, and then put in your heart and mind towards it. It definitely helps if you're in a startup. In a big company, it might not be that important, because the company is trying to solve a bigger problem, but you might be working on something completely different. All right. The next step is understand who the founder is and what is his working style. Because startups are very small teams, you're directly working with the founders. Some way or the other, it's like, even if you just start out of college, it'll be very rare if you're working in a mid-size early stage startup that you'll not be talking to the founder. All right. So what is the working style of the founder? Does the working style affect the team? Because if the founder works in a particular way, he expects the next line of leadership to work in that particular way, and the next line of leadership would expect you to, if you are reporting to that leadership, it would expect you to work in that way. All right. So understanding how what has the founder done in the past, what is his working style, is really important, and if that working style really suits you. And the most important part is team. I am someone who learns a lot from the team I'm a part of. I'm not someone who would learn a lot from books. I learn from people, and that's been even when I was in PACE, I learned a lot from my fellow PACers. Even when I was in during my MBA school, I learned a lot from my friends over there. And now when I'm doing a job, I learn a lot from my peers, all right, or my colleagues. So understanding, if you're someone like me, it definitely helps to understand the kind of team that is there. If it's an enthusiastic, raw, intelligent, and very ambitious team, it will definitely help you in you and your career. All right. So these are the three things that you should look for when you think about joining a startup. But like, it's because startups are not like you decide to get into startups and they'll take you. It's a marriage. Even startups are looking at something. What are they looking at? One of the most important thing is they're looking at raw intelligence. Basically, someone who can learn and apply on the job. It's not like you know a particular technology that will directly help. There are some startups who recruit like that, but most of them will look at you as now that you're in Walchand, definitely there is a lot of raw intelligence out there. So that base is covered for you, but you should not be like focusing on this particular technology is used by this particular startup, so they might just hire me. It's not that way. It's the other way. If you have the willingness to learn and you want to apply, you can apply on the job. It definitely helps. The next thing is that they do not want someone who needs to be spoon fed, because it's a small and a very lean team. Mostly your early stage and mid stage startups are like 200, 300 people odd. All right. So people, you are on your own. You have to learn things, you have to apply it on the job, and you are just given a responsibility. If you have to take ownership about it and then go ahead and apply it. All right. So there is no spoon feeding as such. So hence what they want is raw intelligence. Second is a very commonsensical first principles thinking. uh, this is the problem that my customer is facing. How do I solve it? And what is the best way, or what is a commonsensical way of my customer would want to solve that problem? So someone who has a very first principle kind of thinking is really a very good asset at a startup. All right. And how do you build that first principles thinking is by doing a lot of extracurricular. It does not come through books. It is by doing a lot of extracurriculars during college, after college, pursuing your hobbies, arranging events like Prudence. So these things build your first principles thinking. You basically understand how the world thinks, how the world operates, and that definitely helps become a good candidate for a startup. Most important is that you have to be a hustler. You have to work really really hard, because when I remember I was in Zilama, my internship wanted me to just take out one project, but I ended up doing three projects, because the more I hustled, the more I learned, and the more I was valuable to the company. So it's we really look for someone who's an hustler, who can get things done, who will not come to you with problems stating that this is not done because this is the problem that I faced. No, it's like this is the problem. I have to hustle. I have to find a solution to it, and then go to upper management saying that this is the problem, this is the solution that I have, and this is what I can do. You just need need a go ahead from your side. So hustling is one important thing. If you're not ready to work hard, you should not consider joining a startup. The next thing is we're looking for T-shaped people, someone who has depth but breadth also. So someone who understands. So I am someone who might be able to talk to someone who knows finance, someone who knows product management, and someone who knows engineering, and someone who knows business as well. But I'm really good at probably product management. So if I look at it, I am a T-shaped person in the sense that I can talk. I have breadth in the skills that I possess, but I also have depth in one particular skill. So these are the kind of people that you're looking at. So like just being good at coding, or just being good at one particular, or managing people is not good. You have to have a breadth of knowledge, and that really will not come from books. It will come from talking to people. It comes from like the next important thing is I hope most of you are third years, fourth years, right? Trying to move to a job, like looking forward to a job or higher studies, but like 70-80% would be going for a job after college. So I would strongly suggest that you choose your industry before you choose your company. What it does to you is that like it's very difficult if you don't choose the right industry. It becomes extremely difficult to be thinking about it, talking about it, planning in, executing in a world you just don't really care about. You might be the most respected data analytics company in the world, for example, but if you don't have interest in data analytics, you're just signing up for some pretty long days, and which does not really make sense. All right. Also, the second point is very straightforward, that the more you work within a particular industry, the more knowledgeable you become. You carry industry expertise from company to company, but when you switch industries, you'll have to learn new vocabulary altogether, new processes, new customers, and new competitors. I'll tell you how that helped me. When I was with Ola Electric, right? automobiles did not really interest me that much, and I was never really passionate about the problem that they are solving. And because I chose a company and a role over the industry, it was not really helpful to my career. While when I am at Upstox, I am constantly thinking about the new inventions, the new innovations that are happening in the fintech industry as a whole. I keep exploring on my own. What it has done to me, it has brought a natural curiosity. All right. So if I compare myself to my peers, I already know about a thing more of what's happening in the fintech industry currently than what my peers would know who are not really passionate about the industry. So you have to like you have to define what industry you want to get into, and then you're not going to be right the first time, and it's okay to make mistakes. All right. So like when you get out there, you might just end up in some industry, and you might figure out that you're not really interested into it. But and you can define an industry in very different ways. Like for someone like uh, probably you can define your industry as healthcare, or you can define it as technology, or you can define it as automobile. But you can be very specific and say that I want to be a part of a personal finance technology company or a personal finance technology industry. So be very specific, or be very broad, but stick to a particular industry. And you have to explore. It's like I have moved from HR tech to agri tech to EVs and electric vehicles, and now into fintech. So you have to explore, and you will like find the right person, or the right industry that you really are passionate about. The next thing I want to talk about is your network is your net worth. I'll give you some brief examples. Okay, so make a lot of friends in college. Okay, I'll tell you. One of my best friends is a senior who was the president of PACE from 2014. My campus interview, as I mentioned, when I was interviewing for Zilema Analytics. So Zilema had come to campus in 2014, and then it came to campus in 2015 as well. So my final interview was taken by someone who I had spent nights working on, working on Prudence, or a lot of events that happen in PACE, or club services and all that. So it was really helpful because I knew the kind of person, I knew his thought process. That was just sheer luck, but that helped because I was talking to people, I was making friends above, I was making friends juniors to me. So when I started out Krishi X, right, a lot of code that was written for the company was juniors from PACE, a year or two juniors from PACE who had written the entire code for this and build the app on. So it helps to make friends, and when you're in college, at least you should know everyone out there. You should, because these are the people who in next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years are going to be really big, and it definitely helps to know people. Also, networking is also not only about knowing people. It just not help saying that I knew someone. The people who wrote code for me, the juniors who wrote code for me, was because I had like helped them in some or the other way during their college times. All right, or probably they were willing to help me uh, because they were willing to help me because probably they thought that Saurabh is a good guy and he might be helpful in the future, or it was just their way of giving things. So networking is a lot about giving. Genuine networks are built when you give and help. It might very simply be just a referral at a company. So when you start helping people, it definitely builds and adds to your network. All right. So it's a very bad notion, at least in these schools, is that you just go and talk to someone and that becomes he's a part of your network. I don't think so. Uh, when you actually go and give and help, that's when he or she becomes a part of your network. I've already spoken about this. It's a lot about who you know once you're out of college, because a lot of things happen through referrals, through a lot of other things. All right, so it's a lot about who you know and how much. It's less about how much you know. All right, so make sure you build good networks when you're in college. Make sure you make very good friends when you're in college, and be nice to everyone. It will definitely help in the long run. Finally, like I would suggest everyone to make mistakes and learn from them. It's a really interesting time right now. You can learn anything on the internet. You can learn like there's a whole lot of things available on the internet. You can go ahead, subscribe to courses, learn. You can learn a lot from people. There are a lot of opportunities out there. Make mistakes. Do a lot of internships. Be a part of a lot of colleges, college clubs, do a lot of things. Be very ambitious, I would suggest, and I would also suggest that uh, no one has it all figured out. It's a process, and everyone gets there. So just try to make as many mistakes and just try to learn from them. So that's it from my side. I would be happy to take any questions from here on.
Thank you for the base talk. If anything regarding what he had said, if anyone in this meet would like to ask any questions, then you can go ahead. Otherwise, we'll move on to the Ask Me Anything session because we already had some questions given to us by the audience members. So we can move on to that if you want.
Cool. Let's move on to the next set of questions then. All right.
Okay. So these are the questions that people have submitted beforehand. So some of them might have already been covered to your base talk. So we'll skip through them, or you can give a one-line conclusion if you want.
Cool.
So the first question is, if given a choice, what would you like to be? A product manager at a big MNC or a VP of product at a startup?
Yeah, I've already covered it through my base talk here. Yeah, I would definitely want to become a VP of product at a startup because I figured it out that startups are for me. I love working. I love the vibe. I love the energy there, and I love working directly on the problem. So a VP of a startup is what I would want to do.
All right. So the second question is that the person says that we see nowadays that there is a boom in the Indian startup ecosystem. Right. But there is also a fact that many startups in India are simply influenced or similar to the Western startups. So how can we urge Indian founders or startups to be authentic and look at sectors where they can create impact instead of simply following the Western markets?
I agree. A lot of things right now are just becoming a copy of the Western world. And building for Bharat is become just translating your website through Google Translate or opening up a shop on WhatsApp. That's true to an extent, but there is a lot of interesting work happening which are really solving the problems that the country faces. Something like there's a lot of work that is going on in agri technologies, building. There are a whole bunch of agri tech startups coming out, doing a lot of innovative stuff, and these startups are like doing it in a way which the Indian consumer understands. Also, I would suggest that it's not like completely a copy, all right? So the whole idea of, say, for example, if I look at it, you would say that Flipkart was a copy of Amazon, but Flipkart did things in a way or executed things in a way very differently than what Amazon did. You might be kids, but back in 2014, cash on delivery was never heard of. All right. So now it's like a lot of people have bank accounts, but in 2014, people just did not have. It was just a very small percentage that people had bank accounts and debit cards and credit cards. So cash on delivery was an innovation by Flipkart. So my whole point is that yes, the idea probably might be a copy, but Indian startups are executing things in a very different way. All right, and this is a way that the normal Indian consumer would understand, and it helps him. So yeah.
Right. And as far as urging Indian founders to be authentic, I feel like even as students, we all do tend to come up with new ideas, and it is happening. It's not like everything is a copy of the Western world.
Right.
Okay, so the next question is, it's related to your college life. There are actually two questions. I merged them together. The first person wants to know what you've done in your 4 years of engineering for this bright future. And the second person says, what are the 3 things that you would have done differently? I guess you covered it in the beginning. If you had an opportunity to do it in the engineering days again, and what are your top 3 learnings and top 3 mistakes? Some of this has been covered.
Cool. What did I do in my first year, second year, third year, fourth year is I don't remember that well. But yeah, I was always curious about new things. I was very ambitious. I wanted to be a part of all the clubs. I wanted to be a part of a lot of events. I wanted to really work hard on my academics also. I wanted to do my projects well. So I was ambitious about things in college. And I was curious. That's what I would summarize it as. But I was not a very ideal student. Also, I remember I just couldn't get up in the morning. An 8 o'clock lecture I did not make sense to me. All right, so I fought a lot with my teachers also. So if a few teachers from information technology still remember me as the most badmash student of the class. All right, so I fought a lot with the teachers, asking them very difficult questions, which was very wrong on them. So not very ideal student, but yeah, I was genuinely curious, and I was very ambitious about what I want to do in life. That's about me in the first 4 years. The mistakes that I did, probably I've already summed it up. Probably I could have built a lot of more things in college, because college provides a very secure atmosphere, and you're surrounded by very talented folks. So the kind of talent that Walchand has, it's as comparable to an IIT Bombay or a VNIT Nagpur, right? So it's extremely talented. So make use of these friends, colleagues, whatever you want to do. If you want to build a startup, if you want to build a project, if you want to do research, just make use of this time of yours, and you make use of the friends that you have. Build things is what I would suggest. This is what I did not do much. I felt I had a lot of time, which I think I wasted. Yeah.
Okay. Also related to advice for engineering, which subjects would you suggest us to work on as an FY student?
Okay, this is very difficult to answer. Just explore, man. It's cool. If first year is to explore. Just explore things. You will end up understanding that this is important for me and this is not important for me. So I really don't have an answer for that. Yeah.
Okay. The next is about your MBA journey. How was your CAT and MBA journey, and how different was it for you as you had an engineering background?
So it does not really matter if you have an engineering background, basically because 70% of the MBAs are engineering grads. All right, so it's everyone's coming from the same pond. So that does not really matter. How was my CAT journey? It is not really very great, because I was doing my startup called Krishi X. I was not really into going for an MBA. This was November, I think, when this thing hit, the demonetization hit, and I was like, okay, this was November of 2016. I said, I need to have a plan B. And plan B, the most easy plan B was, let's do an MBA. I'll have 2 years. I'll have 2 years of free space. I'll go back to college. I'll enjoy life, and then I'll also probably figure out as in what I want to do next. So I took up CAT probably with a week's preparation, and I did not make it. I did not have a very good score, but SP Jain has a very nice concept of a profile-based call. Okay, so with IIMs, it's generally your 10th, 12th profile, 10th, 12th, and your graduation marks that they look at, and then your CAT score. But SP Jain has a very different concept. They don't look at your CAT score in the beginning. They look only at your profile, 10th, 12th, your what is the kind of work experience you have, how suited are you for a particular course of MBA. So MBA again will have different courses, like it's marketing, it's analytics, it's information management, it's operations, it's finance. All right. So how suited are you for a particular course? So I applied for analytics and information management, where I was extremely suited because I had experience of building a startup. One, and second was with work in Zilema, which was again a lot of analytics there. So because of that, I got a call from them, and after the interview, I cleared it. That was the only call that I had. That was the only the only college that I converted, and then I just said, okay, it's a good college, top 5 in the country. I'll just roll in. That's how it went. So I did not really plan it out. It just happened to me. That's what I would summarize it as.
Okay. Now, coming to your role, how much technical knowledge and experience is required for landing the role of PM, product manager?
So it is required to know to have some technical background. It is definitely helpful, but it is not something where you have to be very extremely technical. There will be different roles within product management itself. All right. So there will be a consumer facing product manager, which does not really have to be technical except from having a basic understanding of how tech works. And there will be a technical product managers who's managing an API, for example. All right. So it's a broad spectrum, I would say, but it definitely helps to have some technical background, but it is not a necessity. You can always learn on the job.
And related to this is an aspiring PM wants to ask you the key points that you would like to share so that it can help him in his journey.
Like, I don't know where is this guy coming from? Is he into engineering? What is his background?
These are engineering students.
Okay. So yeah, I would say build things. Engineers have that build things with a problem in mind. Try to solve a problem, be it tech, be it non-tech, be it CS, IT, or be it something in electronics, mechanical. Select a problem, try to solve that problem. If you that will be a very good foundation for your PM career. That is one. Second is like understand data well. Okay. If you're taking a particular decision, or if there is a way of problem solving things, why is that way the best way? Taking data backed decisions and will help you have a strong foundation for a PM career. Yeah.
Okay, and one more question related to this is, what should a PM focus on? Technical vision, customer requirement, PMF, MVP, anything that you wish to add?
I don't know who has asked this question, but this guy is a good, he's already is already going to become a good product manager. He knows a lot of jargons, but end of the day, it's empathy towards the customer and the problem that you're solving, and empathy towards your engineers. That's going to solve the problem. So a product market fit, or the minimum viable product, or the MVP, PMF, all this is important, but at a junior level, it's really not that important. What matters is, are you solving the problem, and are you do you empathize towards your customer? That's the most important part.
Okay, and shifting towards finance a little, a person wants to know how to start investing in stocks with a low budget.
So, see, I'm not a fin god or something, but I would suggest, I'll give you an example, okay? Warren Buffett has made 90% of his wealth after the age of 65. So what worked in his favor is like 70 years of compounding. I hope a lot of folks understand what is compounding. If you don't understand, you should first go and understand how compounding works. All right. As Albert Einstein has said that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. All right. So it's really fascinating of how money can work for itself. Uh, I would suggest, like on a low budget, you should only invest in index funds. It can be a 100 rupee SIP as well. Just start investing. Get to know the process. You will make mistakes. I'm not going to tell you that you will be like right on the job. Read a lot. A book that I would suggest is reading The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. All right. It's a very interesting and a very good book. It'll give you the basics of how investing works, and it should like set the foundation well. And next is just start investing into index funds. Don't try to pick stocks, because my experience within Upstox has told me that like 80% of stock pickers are just not that great. They're not performing better than what the index would perform. All right. So I would suggest just go for index funds, low cost index funds, and you should be well off. Start with a very small SIP right now, but take the benefit of your youth. You have still, like, if you are 19, 20, 21, you still have a lot of time behind you. Just start investing. It's a great thing.
Okay, and shifting a little towards the corporate world for a second, one person wants to know what skill set is required for the corporate field, like in general.
It again depends upon the kind of company that you are in. If you are working for a bigger company, they'll require a lot of structure. They require a structural thinking. But if you are working for a startup, you just have to have raw intelligence. You just have to be a hustler. You have to be very ambitious. So again, it depends on what kind of career or what kind of company that you want to get into. All right. But as a common principle, I would say that being ambitious is something that has really worked for me. Being ambitious and being genuinely curious has really worked for me.
Okay, and what are the best EV related companies or brands to invest in, coming back to investment? And what is the process and what platforms do you recommend?
So I'm not sure if this is EV companies that are listed onto the stock market. If that's the case, then there's this company called as CG Power, which is doing really well. But again, I'm not giving any investment advice right now. Please understand the company, understand its products, and then decide. Ola Electric is building a great two-wheeler. It's going to be leaps and bounds ahead of what the current market is right now. All right, it's going to be like it'll be something like a smartphone versus a normal non-smartphone. That will be the difference between normal automobile and what Ola Electric will bring out. All right, so it's a good company. Then there is a company called as Ather, which is doing really well. It's built its own smart vehicle. So these folks are IIT Madras graduates, have been working on this product for the last 8-9 years, and they have built a very strong product. So Ather is one big company I would bet on. Then there are other folks as well, like Bajaj and Hero Electric, but it'll take some time for them to really get out of the market. And if you look at internationally, you will look at Tesla is one big company, and then it is definitely doing really well. There is some in China. There is something called as NIO, which is also doing really well. So these are the companies I'm really bullish upon in the EV space.
Okay, and there's a question regarding startups, how to get rid of the fear and the nervousness that comes when we think about a new startup. I think they mean to say when they want to start a startup.
The fear is always going to be there. The fear should be, it'll help you. Being fearful will help you to work hard, will help you to think ahead of the market, will help you to actually go and talk to your customers. So that fear is good. Okay, but right now you really don't have like anything dependent on you. So you should, if you're going to start up, if you're thinking of starting up, give it a shot right now, because college is the best time. You get a lot of free resources, free, probably you're staying in a hostel, you have free internet, and you have great friends. That's all what a startup requires. Just go ahead and build something, go ahead and solve some problem. Yeah.
Okay. And right. What makes Upstox different and better from its competitors? And the same person has also asked, in your experience, how would you suggest diversified portfolio for someone in 20s?
Yeah, so I would say have a 100% equity portfolio. And again, only invest in low cost index funds. All right. What are low cost index funds? You should go and research if you don't know about it. If you know about it, great. How is Upstox better? What we are trying to do is, if you look at it, only 2% or 3% of the total entire Indian population invests into equity market right now. We want to make it very simple for an end consumer to actually, or make it easy for the end consumer to invest. It can be a roadside vendor, or it can be your normal rickshawala who should feel confident and feel to be very intuitive to solve, and that's what we are doing. We are trying to solve that problem, and I think that is how we will the next phase of growth is going to come from those particular customers.
And a person wants to know what your favorite stock is.
My favorite stock is HDFC. Again, I am invested into this stock. It's a big brand. It's been like I'm a big fan of Aditya Puri, who was the CEO and MD of HDFC Bank, and then I have known Deepak Parekh through SPJ, because he was on the trust board there. So these are really good folks. I have read about them. I know the kind of hustle that they have gone through on making HDFC the brand it is today. So my favorite stock is HDFC. Yeah.
And do you do investing in equity? For many long years, you hold your stocks.
Yeah, so I invest into equity, and I am a long-term investor. I don't trade. I would also suggest that all of you guys stay away from trading. I know you guys have read about YOLO, you only live once, and all the Robinhood stuff that's going out in the world. And with discount broking coming up, I would suggest you, because I've seen I have the data to back that up. 80 to 90% of the people who trade lose money. So you should stay away from trading. Invest, understand companies, and then try to invest. I have been investing, I think, since 2013, back when I was in college. But those are very small investments, and I have slowly progressed to have a considerable portfolio.
Okay, and regarding this, as per your observation, how would the public panic and enter into the wrong way while buying and selling stocks?
So people generally chase momentum, and that's really, really bad. When the stock's been going up, they start buying, and when the stock starts falling, they just sell it off. All right. So because of that, they endure losses. So momentum chasing is one of the major problems. I would definitely suggest you read The Psychology of Money, because it's not about stock markets. It's not very technical. It's a lot of thousands and crores of investors who are moved by emotions, taking decisions, and that's what really affects the stock market. So go ahead, read this book, understand it well, and then probably you will have a better understanding of how people take decisions in the stock market.
All right. And one final question is, how do you spend your whole day as an Upstox product manager?
Yeah. So I start my day late. I start at around 10 o'clock in the morning. I look at a lot of data. I start with around an hour looking at all the analytics dashboard, the metrics that I'm trying to chase, how are the metrics performing. All right. So I spend an hour into that. Then I look at a lot of uh, tickets or the customer support tickets that are coming in. What are the problems that the customers are facing currently, solving their or using Upstox or solving their problems. Okay, so I spent an hour into that. Post that, I like probably would spend some time trying to chalk out my product requirement document. So for a product manager, PRD is the Bible. So if any new feature that I'm building in during that particular sprint, I spend like 2 hours, 2.5 hours just spending understanding how to draft that product requirement document well, so that my engineers, my designers, and the upper management understands what we want to build, and there is no ambiguity. Post that, there are a lot of meetings where you have to be a part of. There is initially in your career, it will be a lot of execution work that will be happening. So you have to chase people, you have to chase engineers, you have to get statuses, and you have to make things happen. So my later part of the day generally goes into that, and then end of the day I just write down things that I want to do for the next day, and that's how I end my day. That's the whole day, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, and these are the questions that we had beforehand.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone in the meet, we have a lot of spacers. If you would like to ask anything to Mr. Gandhi, you can go ahead now. And also, at the same time, if there are any interesting questions in the live chat, then we can take them up now too.
Okay, hey Saurabh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you did your management degree after working in the industry, right?
Right.
So what do you think helped after joining the management degree after coming from an industry? If you had joined after engineering, do you think there would have been a different approach from your side?
Yes, definitely. Having spent some time in the industry, I knew how it worked, and because what matters in the corporate world, I had a brief understanding of that. I am not saying that I completely understood it, but I have a brief understanding of that. But when you just join out of college, one thing that I have noticed is that you approach every particular thing that comes to you during your MBA degree in a very similar way that you would have done in your engineering. Having those 2 years of experience really helped me in thinking from a different perspective, and I feel that helps. Now again, a lot depends on the kind of MBA that you want to do, a kind of MBA, or where you want to do it from. All right, so and the course that you choose, but generally, if I had to speak about it, it is I would say that if you do it right after your engineering, you have one particular perspective, and your perspective increases or your expands if you go out or spend a few years in the industry and then come back to college. Also, one more important fun fact is that if you come like out of engineering, right? Just do your MBA out of engineering. You don't value MBA so much. You don't value going back to school so much. But if you spend 2 years in the corporate, you really value those 2 years, saying that you know how the world is out there. So you really want to make the most of those 2 years with you.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hello, Saurabh. I just had a question related again to stock market. So it's it's quite of a dilemma for me. So what are your views related to the penny stocks? Many times it happens that there might be some expectations from the penny stocks that they might grow to certain extents. Taking an example of our power, within a month we can say it raised by I guess 100%. So what should be our analysis towards the penny stocks? Even there's one dilemma, there might be certain what we can say major investors into them. So if they sell or buy them, so that might be a huge fluctuations for those stocks. So what are your what we can say views about the same?
See, I'm not an expert into this, but I generally stay away from penny stocks. I only invest in companies that I know well, the products or whose services I use. My portfolio, major portfolios into Hindustan Unilever, Reliance Industries, SDFC Bank, and Asian Paints, because these are the companies that have over the years, like in the last 10-15 years, constantly compounded well. They have given a return on equity of like 15+%, and the return on capital employed is above 25, above 30%. So I would say I don't really have an answer to your question specifically saying that how do I look at penny stocks, because I don't really look at penny stocks. Like, to change your perspective, there is a book by Saurabh Mukherjee called as Coffee Can Investing. Okay, I would suggest you go ahead and read it once. Probably he might have an answer to your question, and you might also stop looking at penny stocks, might move towards large cap or companies that you really have used. Okay. There is one more book by Peter Lynch. I don't exactly remember, but he talks about the same thing. He says that only invest in companies where you have an understanding of the market, you have an understanding of the customer, of the company's customer. Only then you should invest in those companies. So if you really understand Reliance Power or the power sector as a whole, then it makes sense to analyze that company. But if you don't understand that, if you're just trying to chase momentum, saying that 1 rupee ka stock 2 rupee ho jayega, all right, and if it's just 2% of your portfolio, it's not going to really make a big impact on the overall wealth. Say, out of 100 rupees in my portfolio, if I'm going to invest 1 rupees into Reliance Power and it changes into 2 rupees tomorrow, it's not really going to make a big difference to my entire portfolio. My entire portfolio is going to be 101 rupees, which does not make sense, right? So yeah, and having a diversified portfolio is really important. Tomorrow, if you go ahead and tell me that I'm going to invest 100 rupees in one particular stock, that's the biggest mistake ever anyone could do, which is not correct. It does not fit into the principles. That's it.
Yeah, right. So, and basically, blue chip stocks are the best ones.
Sorry?
And basically, so blue chip stocks are the best ones. Like, they can be safe.
Not all blue chip stocks are also very good, but definitely if you know a particular product, you use that product day in, day out, right? So if you look at your home, 90% of your FMCG products are coming from 2-3 brands. One is ITC, HUL, probably Godrej Consumer Products, and Tata Consumer Products. So these are 3-4 companies that you will have 90% of your products coming from. So it definitely makes sense, because you know, okay, this particular company is doing well. I am buying the product, and I'm buying that product for a particular reason, or my mom is buying that product for a particular reason. So it does make sense for you to actually go ahead and invest in them. And but also look at the balance sheet, go through their go through their annual reports and all.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Hello, Saurabh. Gagan here.
Hey, hi Gagan. Nice to see you, man.
Yeah. Like, I had a question. Rather than like, it would be helpful for all of them to understand the importance of storytelling. Like, the book you mentioned, Psychology of Money, I picked up after you have suggested on Instagram that I have asked you someday that which was the book.
Yeah.
Then I have picked it up. I really got very good insight through it. So as everyone talks about statistics and what candles, bars, that's the one side, and psychology and emotion is one side. So I want to tell you that everyone should know that's what your take on storytelling and emotional being of every individual. So you could shed light on. I feel that that's important than this all technologies, terminologies, and all. So that's what is more important than.
Right. The best part about Psychology of Money is that it's a very easy to read book. The chapters are very small. Okay. Generally, when I was in 2012, 2013, I was as curious as you, wanted to invest in the stock market. People told me to go ahead and read The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. I picked up that book, and I never really go past a few chapters. But when I picked up Psychology of Money like a few years back, when it got released, because it was so easy to read, and it was it was written in a manner, it was written stories, right? It helped me learn a lot more than what I learned from The Intelligent Investor by Ben Graham. All right. So storytelling is extremely useful, is really important. Also in the business world, right? It's a lot less about what are the facts you have. It's more about how you can convince your stakeholders about something, and convincing your stakeholders really comes from great storytelling. So it's a very important skill people should have, and I think you start doing it right here in PACE, because there are a lot of events you participate in, and a lot of events you conduct. So you convince people as in why you should participate in a particular event. So that's also storytelling in a sense. You should build on those skills. It will definitely help you. Even your club services are like what? These are 60-minute storytelling sessions. So it's really important, and it definitely helps you in the longer term, at least in the corporate world or the business world. Gagan, does that answer your question to an extent? Or
I wanted to let know everyone, those who are listening, that storytelling is also not equally but more important than the other statistics and all. Like that's what the crux of the book we mentioned earlier, and also what we see. Day before yesterday, Radhika Gupta, like one of the CEOs of asset management company, she was also so she was also mentioning that why I am here is because of storytelling and all.
Right. She sold all the influencers that you see right on the internet right now. What are they? They are just good storytellers. Yeah. Look at Avil Bhatnagar, who's from Junior VC, or a lot of other people. They are good storytellers.
Yeah. That's what I want to like. If it is from your side, it would be more influence on all people. Therefore, I wanted to make them hear that. All you're asking about the statistics and all those stuff, but most of them neglect this part. Therefore, I asked this question. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Yep.
If anyone has any more questions, we can take them now, or we have 5 minutes. I guess a lot of it was covered with the questions that you answered before.
Cool. No worries.
So if that's all for the questions, then I'll hand it over to Smith Deshmukh. He is the president for this year.
Cool. Hey Smith, you're on mute.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, good morning, everyone. So I'm here to give a short vote of thanks to everyone. First of all, special thanks to Saurabh sir. Basically, I had read somewhere a statement from Narayan Murthy that the value of an institution is shown by how the alumni care for the institution, and that's what I have seen while talking back and forth with Saurabh sir. He's too passionate about PACE. He's passionate about helping PACE. He's passionate about helping students. And I love that approach. I was very frightened when speaking to him at the first time that he's such a big personality and how do I approach? But that was done very well due to his friendly nature. So first of all, thank you, Saurabh, for making me feel as if I'm your batchmate or your junior. So thanks for that. Second thing, we thank you for coming and gracing this Prudence 2021 stage, because this is the advantage of the online platform, that we had a chat with you and you were on board right away. So thank you for taking time out from your schedule and coming here for the PACE talk. I would like to thank all the ex-PACers, all my PACE members for helping me out with Prudence and all these PACE events which is going on currently. Thanks for attending. And yeah, that's it from my side. Saurabh, once again, thanks to you for coming and giving us such insightful experiences from your side. Thank you.
Thanks, Smith. I really thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and talk to coming back to PACE, as I'd already mentioned, PACE is really close to my heart. I would want to visit college once and hopefully attend a club service very soon if things go back to normal. I'm really looking forward to that, and thank you for being patient and listening to me. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, sure. We are also hoping to have you once things get back to normal.
Yeah.
Because
All right.
we have heard hundreds of anecdotes about you from our super seniors. We are very passionate about meeting all your batchmates and everyone from PACE.
Great. We'll definitely try to do something together. Thank you so much. It was nice, really nice talking to you guys. Thanks. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Saurabh, once again.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so guys, that's all for the session. Now the second day of Prudence will be continued. Thank you everyone for attending.